Hi everyone, in this lecture we're going to be discussing the 2D array and objects. So we learned about 2D array and primitive data type like integer, double. So now we're going to be discussing how we can manipulate the 2D array using objects. As you can see here, I have two classes. The first class is room, like hotel room. So every room has four attributes: the room number, guest, rates, how much they charge per night, and whether the room is booked or not. Then we have the constructor, like a regular class. We have accessor method, get room number, get guest, get rate, and is booked. And then the modifier method to change the value, set guest, set rate, set booked, and finally the toString. Okay. Now in the hotel class, now here we have an array list. I know we didn't learn about array list, but it's not going to be a problem. So we're going to learn about array list later on. But basically it's just like an array. The only difference is the array list is more flexible, more dynamic. You can add more elements using the add method, and then you can remove elements from the list using the method remove. It's as easy as that. So it's not going to be a problem even if we didn't learn about it. So we are using this array list just to save the names of guests who couldn't find a room available. Okay. So we check the entire hotel, there is no room available. So we put their names in the waiting list. Okay, so, and then as you can see right here, we have different method here, static method. The first one is a method that returns the number of available rooms. Let's say I want to know how many available rooms we have in the hotel. So this method will return that number. A method that displays the room of a given floor. So how do I know if a room is in the first floor, second floor? So we have a room number. And as you can see in this example, if the room number starts with 1, then it is in the first floor. If it starts with 2, it's in the second floor, and so on. Okay. Now, a method that returns the name of the guest of a given room. Let's say we have a room that is occupied, but we want to know who is in that room. What's the name of the guest? So this method will return the name if there is somebody in there, because it's possible that we may not have anybody in that room. So in that case, we're going to return null. Now, a method that raises the rate of a given room. So for whatever reason, there is a room that needs to be like the rate of that room should be increased. So this method will increase the rate. And then we have a method called assign room. So when we have a new guest, the first thing we need to do is check. So just to make it easy, we're going to assign the first available room. I mean, we can give him the choice to choose whatever room, but in this case, just to make it easy, the first available room should be given. So we're going to look for the first available room, and then we're going to assign it to the new guest if there is a room available. Now, if we search the entire hotel and there is no room available, then we're going to display a statement that there is no room available at this time. And then the last one is a method that checks out an existing guest. So let's say there is a guest who is leaving, so we need to make sure he's checked out properly. And then we have in the main method, we have an example, as you can see, a 2D array of type room. It's called rooms 3 by 4. Why? Because we have different floors. And then some of them are occupied, others are not occupied. So we can test our methods. So let's start with the first method. So in this method, we want to count how many available rooms. So we need a variable. Initialize it to 0. And then we're going to use the nested loop. Why? Because we have a 2D array. So we can either use the traditional loop or we can use the enhanced loop. I'm going to show you both. So let's start with the traditional loop. So I equals 0, I less than list, that length, that's the number of rows. And then the number of columns. So j equals 0, j less than less 0. So as you can see here, because we have the same number for every row, we can put less 0. If we don't have the same number, then we put less I dot length. But now we're going to check list ij. So we're going to check every single room object. And then we're going to call the method booked, because this is the method that's going to check whether the room is occupied or not. So if it is booked, it is occupied. If it's not booked, then it is available. So we're looking for available. That means is booked should be false. So you can either put false like this, or you can put like a shortcut. You can just put exclamation mark in the front. That means false. If it is false, then we are going to increment the variable, and then we're going to return that variable. Okay, this is method. Let's check if there is an error. So there is no error, and then we're going to call the method in the main method and see. So using this example, how many rooms are available? So we have 107, 110, 204, 212, 308, and 312. So that's 6 of them. So if we call the method available rooms using the array that we have, which is rooms, so we should get 6. If we get anything other than 6, then there is something wrong. So we get 6, as you can see right here. So we have 6. So everything looks fine. Okay. Now let's move on to the second method. Second method, a method that displays the rooms of a given floor. So as we said, how do we know if the room is in the first or second or third floor? By looking at the first character. So the first character, if it starts with 1, 102, that's first floor. If it starts with 2, 204, that's second floor, and so on. Okay. So what we're going to do here, so you can either use the for each loop or the traditional. Let's use the for each loop because it's easier and faster. So we're going to put for every row, for every array within the 2D array, which is lists, and then for every room within the same floor. So it's like here we're talking by floor. Okay, so room for every floor within the hotel, and then for every room within the same row, within the same floor. So this is how we put that. So there is no reference to the index. We don't use index in the for each loop. So now here I need to access the room number first. So I'm going to put string, and then I'm going to put here the room number. Let's say I'm going to put first character. First char, I'm going to call it first. Okay, so I'm going to put here rm.getRoomNumber. So that's going to give me access to the room number. And then the first character is substring. And then I'm going to get what? 0, 1, because 0, 1 is the first character. Okay. Now I'm going to convert that string because it says 1 or 2, but still it is a string. I need to convert it to a number because remember here floor is a number. So I need to convert that to a number so I can compare it to floor. So I'm going to get a variable called num. And then I'm going to put first. Okay, to convert it, we use integer that parseInt first char like this. So that's going to convert it from the string 1 to the number 1. Now it's time to compare it to the number we have. So I'm going to put if num equals floor, then print. So I'm going to put print. We're going to print, let's say we're going to print the room number, and then maybe other information. Let's say the rates. So rm.getRates. Or also, like if it is booked or not. So that's an important information. RM is booked. Okay. Now let's build it. And let's call the method here. So I'm gonna go all the way down and then print room. So there are two information that we need to provide to the array, and then which room, which floor. So let's say number 2, which is the second floor. So it should display all the rooms in the second floor, and then whether they are booked or not. Okay, let's run the program. Okay, it looks like we have an error here, and it's gonna try to fix it. Create, find symbol, print rooms, list, and not list, because here we're using the rooms. List, it's inside the method. So I'm gonna put rooms, because that's the to the array we are calling. Okay, and then as you can see right here, it shows only the rooms that are on the second floor. It shows the rate, and then it shows false or true. That means if it's booked or not. Okay, so this is the second method, print rooms. So in the next lecture, we're going to finish the rest of the method. Thank you for watching.